5 years since Prince Harry and Meghan Markle revealed they were leaving the royal family. We ran the headline, which I think has become most famous around the world, Megxit. Harry and Meghan really did sabotage and ambush the monarch. It was always about money. It was about Meghan not having to work.
I thought that your breaking of the story was absolutely brilliant. It's even more than blackmail. It was, I'm gonna show you who the Queen is. Who do you think you are? You broken down 90-something-year-old white woman? I think she played the race card all along.
Black Lives Matter. Sometimes it's easy to forget how celebrities cashed in on that hysteria.
Meghan is one of the crassest opportunists.
This time 5 years ago, I was feeling pretty nervous because I had received this tip-off when I was on holiday in New Zealand on Boxing Day in 2019, where I was told by a very, very good source that Harry and Meghan had made this decision and had communicated with Prince Charles, he was Prince Charles at the time, that they wanted to leave the royal family but have this half-in, half-out relationship. And I did what a journalist does, which is find out exactly what's true, corroborate the story with numerous sources. But my editor, because I was executive editor at The Sun, but my editor, a guy called Tony Gallagher, who's now the editor of the Times of London, said to me, Dan, amazing, but I'm not going to run this story unless you get it confirmed. So I had to go to Harry and Meghan's people. And that set off a chain of events which resulted in them actually going to the Queen and saying, we want to announce this ourselves because we want to scupper the Sun from running the story. So it was very, very nervous time because obviously this was a very big story, but we did run our front page, we're off, and a lot of the details in that story, Lady C, stand. I revealed that Harry and Meghan were prepared to give up their royal titles, that they were going to go to Canada, although of course that was obviously just really a stopgap measure because in March 2020, I then revealed that Hollywood, here we come. And then after I ran the story, they posted their botched announcement on Instagram, which tried to really bribe the Queen and King Charles into giving them exactly what they wanted, a terrible way to negotiate with someone who's such a respected figure. But the next day, we ran the headline, which I think has become most famous around the world, Megxit, inventing this term, which would go on to be included as one of the new words of the year in the Collins Dictionary for 2020. But it's really interesting, Lady C, isn't it, looking back, because Harry and Meghan really did think that they were going to really blackball the Queen into doing something that she had no intention of doing.
Oh, yes, it was their objective. Well, it was Meghan's objective, and Harry went along with it, that she would lay down the law to the Queen, and the Queen would have absolutely no choice but to go along with it. And remember, Dan, this had been in the planning for some considerable length of time, because they had, and really they is Meghan, because Harry doesn't have the brain power or the discipline, had created the Royal Sussex website and had trademarked absolutely everything, including Tampax with the royal cipher on it, sort of thing. I mean, they had trademarked hundreds of items that they would be flogging via this royal website. And so this had been in the planning for some considerable length of time. And the Lord Land King of Arms, on behalf of the Queen, thwarted it by saying you can't be half in and half out. Well, that was directly from the Queen. And Harry would like the world to believe that when the Lord Lion or Sir Edward, as he then was, who was her private secretary, said something that they were hijacking the Queen, and the Queen really wanted to encourage Harry and Meghan to do everything that they wanted to do, which of course was utter rubbish. But but Meghan really thought that if she laid down the law to the Queen and strong jawed her, that the Queen was going to relent. And I mean, she's very manipulative, and it really was uh, defiant, and it was laying down the gauntlet. It was a form of blackmail that she hoped the Queen would allow. And of course, the Queen didn't allow it.
No, because this announcement on their own Sussex Royal page, Lady C, was completely intellectually dishonest. Because look at the top line, Lady C. After many months of reflection and internal discussions, we have chosen to make a transition this year and starting to carve out a progressive new role within the institution. We intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to support Her Majesty the Queen. Now, the first words of that statement are a lie. Harry and Meghan may have been reflecting, but Lady C, there had not been many months of internal discussions. That's intellectually dishonest. The internal discussions were over Harry and Meghan remaining full-time members of the royal family, but perhaps relocating for a significant chunk of the year to South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. Canada may have been mentioned, but it was as a formal member of the royal family. I mean, there were even talks of could Harry become the Governor General of Australia, for example. They were the internal discussions. Now, what Harry and Meghan did, and this is so despicable, is they launched their own money-making operation even when they were members of the royal family. Meghan had all of her staff who had pretty much stayed working for her behind the scenes, negotiating book deals, starting talks with Netflix while they were a member of the royal family. So to suggest that somehow the late Queen and King Charles had been involved in these discussions was wrong. The discussions had been about something altogether different, and Harry and Meghan really did sabotage and ambush the monarch.
Well, my view on it has always been that the talks involving them spending a lot of time in a Commonwealth country was always a red herring and a distraction. It was effectively a con. They were conning the palace into believe in, they were soft soaping the palace as well, and they were conditioning them to the fact that something isn't quite right and we're not really happy, and we would like to do something else for you, when really they meant we are going to lead you to believe we want to do something for you within the institution, when in fact all along the plan was to do it for me, not you, and to do it for themselves outside of the institution. And it was a con. It was deception of the frankest kind. And but Harry understood, and Meghan, for all her claims that she didn't really understand the royal way, she understood it well enough to know that if she played the "we'll be in the Commonwealth" card, and we'll be doing our royal duties there, that would open the door, and then they would pip them at the post with, well, actually, we've changed our minds, and really, it, 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 it shows a degree of not only dishonesty but naivety, that and it shows to what extent Meghan truly believes that she is cleverer than she is, and she can dupe anybody, because this had to have been her idea, although he obviously had input, because he's the one who understood how the system works in a far more effective way than she would have understood it. So he was giving her the benefit of his knowledge, but she, I'm sure, was the architect of the whole deception. And it was a con, and it was a con that was going to that was at the 99th hour. It's a con artist's trick. At the 99th hour, you pull something else, and all of a sudden you've achieved your objective. But it didn't work. But that doesn't mean they didn't set it up for it to work. I think their behavior suggests dishonesty from the word go. And it suggests to me that she was behind it, not Harry.
Absolutely. And the thing that is incredibly shocking, Lady C, is some of the pathetic reasons that they tried to justify Megxit, which, let's be honest, was always about money. That's what it was about. And it was about Meghan not having to work. But actually, in my initial story on this, and remember, this was briefed by people who were very close to Harry and Meghan, they said it has been made very clear by the institution that the Sussexes are not central to the future plan. Just look at the picture released last week of the Queen with the Prince of Wales, Duke of Cambridge, and George. But the thing is, Lady C, that was nothing to do with Harry and Meghan. That picture, that historic picture, was about showing, and there it is, what a beautiful image, which now hangs, I believe, in the National Portrait Gallery. It was about showing to the world that as the Queen enters her twilight years, which Harry and Meghan should have been aware of, but they didn't seem to give a damn about, that the line of succession is safe. And it was a historic picture showing the Queen with William, Charles, and George. For Harry and Meghan to try and turn that into some sort of personal slight against them is ridiculous.
Yes, because that was a photograph of a monarch and the three monarchs in waiting. Harry, despite Meghan's wish to be the monarch, is never going to be. Although, of course, it has been said that she has said they're one plane crash away from succeeding to the throne,
which is terrifying.
But it's true as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
which is why the late Queen never wanted Prince William to fly with his family. Certainly not in helicopters, but he did, and he still does.
Yes. Well, he is Diana's son, and he is Charles's son, and both Charles and Diana have from birth displayed very obstinate streaks. So let's just hope that doesn't happen, because I certainly would become a Republican at that stage. I would much rather have President Starmer than King Henry IX and Queen Meghan the sick-making first.
Very true, very true. Now, I just want to go and look at the story that was published by me after this announcement, because I think it is worth just pointing out, Lady C, the complete outrage within the royal family for the way that Harry and Meghan had acted. But first, you know how often I talk about the need for free speech to be protected? Well, I've been increasingly thinking of the need for personal protection from snoopers, bad actors and hackers online. And I'm delighted to tell you I have now found the fail-safe solution. But what's more, this VPN or virtual private network, to use the full term, is also a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So let me introduce you to Surfshark, an incredible and easy to use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activities stay safe so you can shop, stream, browse, and conduct your banking online in complete privacy. But the benefits of Surfshark go way beyond keeping you safe online. It allows you to access your favorite entertainment, news shows, and channels, including to streaming services like Hulu, iPlayer, HBO Max, and Peacock. Or if your favorite show is blocked on Netflix, like Survivor for me here in the UK, or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus, within seconds you can be watching as if you're in another country. If you're traveling for work or on holiday, you can also get all your favorite content from home, including sports. And this is an insurance policy against creeping censorship in many countries like France, which has now blocked Rumble for many months. Watch anything, anytime, anywhere. It's true freedom, which I am here for. Oh, a VPN can save you money too, because you can get the best deals from websites that change their prices depending on where you're buying from. There are other benefits too. You can use Surfshark on unlimited devices. That means your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service if this is your first time using a VPN. Go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. What's more, Surfshark are so confident they're the best VPN in the world that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you'll get your money back. So that is www.surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. But now, back to the show. So I reported that the Queen was deeply upset and Prince Charles and Prince William were incandescent with rage. That was because they rushed out a bombshell statement after their plans were exclusively revealed in The Sun, but the failure to consult other royals has triggered outrage. Now, this was the statement released by the Queen, which was incredibly terse. Discussions with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are at an early stage. We understand their desire to take a different approach, but these are complicated issues that will take time to work through. But a senior royal source told me, Lady C, their statement was not cleared with anyone. It breaks all protocol. This is a declaration of war on the family. There is fury over how they've done this without any thought for the implications for the institution. The Queen is deeply upset. Courtiers can't believe it. There are so many unanswered questions, but they've just up and done it without a thought for anyone else. The plan was there to discuss it and work out a way that works for everyone in the family. So to suggest somehow, Lady C, that the late Queen was okay with this is just wrong. She was deeply upset.
Can I say, Dan, first of all, I thought that your breaking of the story and your coverage of it was absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
And I know I'm not alone in thinking that. Well, I mean, basically, Meghan is a small-time operator, or as Bill Simmons said, a grifter. And I think she thought, you see, Meghan had spent her whole life pulling fast ones on people and getting away with it. And I think she thought she'd pull another fast one. And well, I'm just going to lay down the gauntlet and I'm going to embarrass them, and they're going to have no choice but to go along with what I want. And it didn't work out like that. But I think that was her aim. Meghan's aim was to outmaneuver them and embarrass them into submission. And she's actually discovered that there are not everybody is Thomas Markle Sr., who can be slapped into submission the way she did all his life, well, all her life with him. And I think her the way they went about this, and I have no doubt it's hers, that she is the one who went about it, and Harry went along with it. It really, I mean, you mentioned earlier blackmail. It's it's even more than blackmail. It was I'm an adept chess player and I'm gonna show you who the queen is. Who do you think you are, you broken down 90-something-year-old white woman? I'm going to show you that I'm a proud, confident woman of color, and that color is going to trump you in this instance. And I think that had Meghan not been a woman of color, I do not think she would have had the unmitigated gall to do what she did. But I think she played the race card all along, and she thought she was going to be safe outmaneuvering them because the race card would protect her. And
Yes.
initially it did, but it in the long run, of course, the Queen and the royal institution has known how to bide its time, and and that time will throttle her, and time has proven that it does throttle people, and it's throttling her. What do you think?
Well, I completely agree. And actually, the race card was something that Meghan had always intended to play. But I think it is just worth, before we get there, just looking a little bit more about the delusion that Harry and Meghan had in terms of what they were going to receive. So again, this is my report of Megxit, and really it does show you how delusional and self-centered they were. So I revealed the Sun has learned Harry and Meghan wish to keep Frogmore Cottage on the Windsor estate and want their security bill paid for. Frogmore Cottage was renovated recently at a cost of £2.4 million to the taxpayer, while their reported 6 bodyguards cost £600,000 a year. The pair also want to keep their titles, as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. A royal source told me they want to keep Frogmore and some of their staff, but no one knows how that is going to work. Most of the staff had no idea until the Sun broke the story. And they want to keep up their level of royal security. How is that going to work if they are off acting like celebrities? And then this is another really critical point, Lady C. I'd revealed the year before how the couple had quietly built up a commercial team in Hollywood, including Meghan's former business manager and PR company, Sunshine Sachs. The source added, "Make no mistake, Harry and Meghan intend to make a lot of money and start taking commercial deals as soon as possible." So isn't that extraordinary that they believed quite seriously that they were going to keep Frogmore Cottage, keep their security, while doing all of the commercial deals?
Well, yes, but she had set up the whole thing, hadn't she?
Yes.
And she had she entered the marriage without ever giving up any of her Hollywood connections. She didn't give up her agent, she didn't give up her manager, she gave up nothing. And she obviously intended from the word go to milk the situation. Gina Nelthorpe said that ultimately she is a businesswoman, and that she's guided by business and making money. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. And she obviously entered the marriage thinking, I'll be able to milk this one and make it work for me. And at what she thought she just have to go along with everybody for a little while and then she'd be able to pull the rabbits out of the hat the way she'd always done. I mean, Meghan has always entered a situation with the idea that she will ultimately be able to double cross everybody, and she'll be able to put the screws in on everybody, and they will be discarded and she will emerge victorious. And this has been her modus operandi all her life. And it worked up to a point, but it hasn't worked with the royals. But I think, Dan, your revelations at the time are almost predictions of what's happened since, because you spotted everything that was going on and that was going to happen, and it has happened. The only thing is, of course, Meghan, because Harry believed that Meghan was the potent, powerful figure that she told him she was. Hence, of course, why she couldn't have her father or family around her, because then they'd have given the game away. So what Harry believed, Harry drank the Kool-Aid, and my God, was he high on it. But she thought she had it all set up, and she was going to be able to dupe everybody, and she was going to be able to implement this and implement that and implement the other. And the royal family would have no option but to relent. And, but both she and Harry were naive enough to think that they would be able to have their security, notwithstanding the fact that Prince Edward and Princess Anne don't have full-time security, but Harry expected it. And I think to that extent, Harry is party to all of this, because Harry is the one whose delusion of his extreme importance was I think he impressed Meghan with how important he was. And I think she believed that he was so important that ultimately, with a few minor adjustments, they could change everything around. So the whole royal system would work for them to make money off a platform that she really created.
Big time, big time. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the